blocked shots. 24 games as a freshman. That's an Arizona State single-season record that nobody in that program's history had ever touched. The San Antonio Spurs just drafted a 7'5" wingspan defensive monster to play alongside the best player on the planet. He's 18 years old. He still needs a cleanup surgery before he even steps on an NBA floor. Segment 1. Who is Jaden Quaintance? Before the injuries tell the story, before we get into what Quaintance brings to San Antonio, we need to understand exactly who this kid is, because the headlines about his injuries have been burying the lead on one of the most physically gifted prospects in this entire draft class. Quaintance entered college basketball as a 5-star recruit, ranked No. 7 overall in the 2024 class and the #1 center in the country. He was a McDonald's All-American out of Word of God Christian Academy in North Carolina. And crucially, he reclassified from the 2025 class into 2024, meaning he was literally the youngest player in all of college basketball during his freshman season at Arizona State. Let that sink in. The youngest player in college basketball, going up against guys 2, 3, 4 years older than him every single night, and he started all 24 games he played. He averaged 4 points, 7.9 rebounds, 2.6 blocks, and 1.5 assists per game while shooting 52.5% from the field. He was named to the Big 12 All-Freshman Team and the Big 12 All-Defensive Team. He set the Arizona State freshman record for total blocked shots with 63 in 24 games, and he did all of that at 17 years old. Then on February 23rd, 2025, his right knee gave out. Torn ACL, season over. And the question that's followed him ever since, through his transfer to Kentucky, through 4 games of limited production while still recovering, and all the way to draft night, is whether that version of him we saw at Arizona State is who Jaden Quaintance actually is, or whether the injuries change something. The Spurs believe it's the former. And when you look at what they're building, it's hard to argue with the logic. Segment 2. The physical profile that made teams pick up the phone here is what makes Quaintance genuinely different from every other big man in this draft class. It's not just his size, and it's not just his athleticism. It's the combination of both at 18 years old in a body that is still developing. Standing at 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan and weighing in at 253 pounds, Quaintance has measurements that belong to a prototype NBA defensive anchor. The wingspan alone is extraordinary. That's the kind of length that turns decent shot blocking instincts into elite rim protection, because it gives a defender a window of reach that most opponents simply cannot calculate correctly on the fly. But it's not just the measurements that scouts were talking about, it's how he moves for someone built like that. Rivals analyst Jamie Shaw wrote that Quaintance can open his hips and has no problem sliding his feet, which is the thing that separates a big man who can protect the rim from one who can actually guard in space at the next level. Watch him at Arizona State moving from the paint to the perimeter on pick and roll coverage. He doesn't lumber, he slides, he closes out without losing his feet. That's a skill most big men in the NBA never fully develop, and Quaintance is already doing it at 18. At his introductory press conference in San Antonio, Quaintance himself put it plainly about why he fits what the Spurs do defensively. They like to switch a lot. I'm a very sociable defender. I can guard multiple positions. That's one thing that will be able to make us stand out. A sociable defender. At 18. That's not language most teenagers use to describe their own game. That's a kid who already understands his role, understands the system he's walking into, and has thought carefully about how his skills translate to the next level. Segment 3. The Arizona State tape, what he actually looked like healthy, because the Kentucky stint was so limited, 4 games, averaging 16 minutes, still clearly working his way back. The real evaluation of Quaintance comes entirely from that Arizona State freshman season. And when you go back and watch that tape, the reaction is almost always the same. This kid should not be doing the things he's doing at 17. The block party started early and never really stopped. Quaintance had 63 blocks in 24 games. That's an average of 2.6 per game, which would rank among the best in the Big 12 for any player at any position, regardless of age. But it wasn't just the volume that was impressive. It was the timing, the positioning, and most importantly, the instincts. He wasn't just jumping at everything and hoping to get lucky. He was reading plays, staying disciplined in his positioning, and picking his moments. The rebound numbers were just as eye-catching, at 7. 9 per game, Quaintance was cleaning the glass at a rate that most starting centers in the Big 12 couldn't match. He has the rare ability to track the ball off the rim, use his length to beat opponents to the ball's landing spot, and then secure it without getting knocked off by bigger, more experienced players, which again, at 17 years old, is genuinely extraordinary. Offensively, he's a work in progress, and everyone involved with this pick knows that. He's averaging under 25% from three-point range, and the Spurs aren't drafting him to space the floor, but he shows real touch around the rim, can catch lobs reliably, finishes above the defense when he gets position, and has enough feel as a passer to make the correct read when double-teamed in the post. He's not a black hole down low. He moves the ball. He understands angles. He finds cutters. On threes, James Fletcher summarized the scouting consensus perfectly. Jaden Quaintance is one of the best defensive prospects in the NBA draft, with the athleticism to guard in space and the unique ability to protect the rim without elite height measurements. The word unique is doing a lot of work in that sentence. His height listed at 6'9" isn't exceptional for an NBA center. What's exceptional is that he plays significantly bigger than his listed height, gets vertical like someone 4 inches taller, and does it on consecutive possessions without losing energy or positioning. That's the thing nobody can teach. You either have that motor or you don't. Quaintance has it. Segment 4. The perfect landing spot, why San Antonio makes so much sense. Here's the part of this story that should genuinely excite Spurs fans, because this isn't just a good pick, it's a perfect organizational fit. San Antonio just came off a 62-20 regular season in an NBA Finals appearance. They have Victor Wembanyama, the best defensive player in the world, anchoring the paint. They have Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Dylan Harper in the backcourt, 3 long, athletic, switching defenders. They have Devin Vassell on the wing. The entire system is built around length, switchability, and defensive versatility. And now they're adding a 7'5" wingspan shot blocker who can guard 1 through 5, covers ground laterally without fouling, and already understands what it means to play help defense alongside the one man in the entire NBA who makes every defender around him better simply by commanding attention at all times. But here's the thing about a 20th pick in a draft: the risk is already priced in. You're not expecting a top 20 pick to immediately flip a franchise's fortunes. You're betting on upside, development, and organizational fit. On all 3 counts, Quaintance checks every box San Antonio was looking for. Segment 5. The ceiling: what happens if he stays healthy? Let's talk about what this actually looks like if Quaintance puts together 2-3 healthy seasons in San Antonio. The comp that keeps coming up in scout reports is a more athletic version of the modern defensive big think Brook Lopez's rim protection paired with the switchability of Jaren Jackson Jr., but with a motor that neither of those guys consistently brings on a nightly basis. At full health, Quaintance has the physical tools to become one of the most disruptive defensive presences in the Western Conference, not because he'll be asked to do everything, but because on a team with Wembanyama eating up the primary defensive responsibilities, Quaintance gets to just be the hammer, the enforcer, the guy who cleans up everything the first line of defense doesn't stop. He's 18. He's the youngest player in this draft class. He reclassified early, went to college early, and got hurt early, but none of that changes the fact that the physical gifts have been there from day one. Mark Pope didn't call him one of the most physically strong, explosive, powerful human beings I've ever seen in my life as a courtesy. He said it because he meant it. The Spurs just added a potential defensive monster to one of the most talented young rosters in the entire NBA, and Jaden Quaintance hasn't even played a healthy college season yet. If you're as excited about this pick as we are, smash that like button right now and let us know in the comments, do you think Quaintance becomes a starter alongside Wembanyama? Or is he the perfect backup big off the bench? Subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we're tracking every single move the Spurs make this offseason and all the way through next season. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.